We left Silver City on foot, since trail goes right through town, and did some low-traffic, paved road walking on our way out. We met friendly locals and even some bikers who were in town for a big race that had booked up most of the lodging while we were there. After leaving town and pavement behind, we entered the Gila National Forest and had lunch at a picnic area with a water spigot. We ran into a ranger there who told us about a hermit who lived in the forest up ahead, and he said we should say hello if we got the chance. We got Kid up in front, and to the right we have real water, not cow water. How exciting. How do you feel about it, Kid?
Feel great.
Great. Just climbed up a hill super far in the wrong direction, so love that for me. Oh, so now we go back down. Probably back up again, going the right way. As the evening went on, we traveled down dirt roads and into a canyon, eventually pulling off to find a flat place to sleep. Kid, Stallion, and I climbed up a hill off the trail and found a rocky plateau that was perfect for cowboy camping. We had dinner and fell asleep in a neat little row. In the morning, we got our first glimpses of the wild spires of the Gila. The desert landscape was clearly changing, and I was stoked about it. We camped last night after about a 14.5-mile day on top of a nice rock with a really nice view. And yeah, we were able to do about 14.5 miles. We left town at like 10:30, 11. So it was pretty good. We left camp this morning at like 7:30. Our goal was 7, but hey, that's earlier than we've been doing lately. That's great. I just tripped. We were finally in like some real forest, and it feels like a real hike, and I am feeling so much better and just so excited to be out here. I was honestly really struggling the first couple sections. It just wasn't fun, but now we're hiking with people, and there's trees and there's water, so it's been good. Yeah, right after I left camp this morning, I actually probably realistically left camp more like 8 because I went to the bathroom, took a shit immediately. That was nice. And then we're just kind of like water hopping today, and there's plenty of it, so it's a nice change. And then there's going to be even more when we get to the Gila, which we should get to later today, most likely. I think we're like 10 or so miles from there, or we think we kind of overdid it before, so we're trying to tone it down a bit. Not far into our day, we came across the register that the hermit had built, but we didn't see him or even get to say hello, outside of riding it, of course. Kid did spot him earlier on in the day and waved, but didn't get a wave back. Later in the afternoon, we came across flowing water, our first source of that sort in New Mexico, and a sign of many to come in the Gila. We were blessed with tree cover most of the day and had lunch at a large cow tank, hopefully the last for a while. While there, we met new friends, Yeti, Shotgun, and Critter, and after lunch, we began our descent into the Gila River Canyon. It was steep, but we were greeted by an abundance of water on the canyon floor. Kid, Stallion, and I passed up a few flat spots and hiked into the night looking for camp. We finally found a suitable area covered in cow shit just before dark. First frozen socks at the CDT in the Gila. That is rock solid, fam. We woke up to frozen socks and cold air because of the high canyon walls. We had about 14 miles to our remote resupply spot, Doc Campbell's, and I decided to count our river crossings on the way there. It's our first water crossing of the day, and I'm not looking forward to it because it's freaking cold. If thru-hiking ever looks even remotely glamorous, just remember I'm doing this at 7 in the morning. It's probably 50 degrees out. That might be generous. This is our 5th time crossing the Gila River today. It's our 8th time across the Gila today, and it's deep. Here goes number 12. The deepest we've had is like up to my thighs, but my shorts have not gotten wet yet. I'm surprisingly a fan of this. It's not too bad. 17 it is. This is crossing number 19. Crossing 22 with the view. 23, super muddy. 27. I always let Kid go first to test the waters. Not really, but he's just faster than me. Dirty 30. River crossing number 38. It's crossing number 45 of the Gila River. And it might be our last because the highway's right over there. Maybe, maybe not.
The last little bit of our walk to docks was on paved road. Kid, Stallion, and I entertain each other on the road walk to make the time go by faster.
I'd love a nice ice cold Dr. Pepper.
I am hopeful for burgers. I've been craving burgers. I've never craved burgers.
Ice cream, Ben and Jerry's ice cream. If they have it, I'll be the happiest man on the planet.
When we got there, Kid and I picked up the box we sent ourselves, supplemented our resupply, and got a spot at the RV park across the street. We hung out with other hikers all evening, and Twerk showed up to hike out with us the next day. I had a great night's sleep on the cushy grass of the RV park, and after some waffling in the morning, decided to take an alternate to the Gila cliff dwellings, and I'm so glad I did. Once I made the decision, Kid and Stallion followed suit, and we spent the morning exploring the ancient homes of the Mogollon people. A ranger watched our packs for us while we visited the 700-year-old structures built into the cliff sides. It's truly humbling to be in the presence of something that has been there for so long. To reconnect with the trail, we took the Gila High route to Little Bear Canyon to get back to the lower Gila route. The farther we got into the route, the more incredible it became. Our goal was to make it to Jordan Hot Springs by lunch, which was 13.5 miles into our day, and we did that by around 2 p.m. We took a nice long soak before hiking our last 6 miles to camp. I went very slow in the evening because the canyon walls of the Gila were nothing short of breathtaking. I couldn't stop staring at the high rock faces surrounding me that the river had carved over hundreds of years, and at times it moved me to tears. It's moments like these where I feel so overwhelmingly lucky to get to experience natural beauty like this, and to know it was my own 2 feet that brought me here. At camp, there's more people than I've camped with on this entire trail so far. It's kind of a party, and I'm not upset about it. We wake up with frozen socks again, but otherwise have a mostly uneventful morning crossing the Gila over and over again. My legs have begun to split open from going in and out of the water, so I try to put diaper rash cream on them to stop the burning. We have lunch in a sweet little cave with new friends, DG and Franzia, before carrying on with the rest of our day. By the time we make it to the campground, there's tons of dirt stuck to the diaper rash cream on my legs. It's created an impossibly sticky paste, and I spend an embarrassing amount of time trying to get it off. It helps just a little bit that we get to camp with a pit toilet and trash cans nearby. After a decent night's sleep, we awoke to frozen water bottles and frigid temperatures yet again. New Mexico just showing off her range, I guess. Despite having crossed the river hundreds of times in the last few days, we were entering dry cow shit country once again. Long water carries made a comeback, and my water filter slowed to a trickle. Almost the whole day was gravel road walking though, and while it's hard on the feet, it's much faster than the cross-country travel the CDT can sometimes be otherwise.
Yesterday we did like 20 to almost 22 miles of the Gila to a campground that we stayed at last night, which is always super nice to have like picnic tables and pit toilets and trash cans. Quite the luxury on a Thru-Hike. There were tons of other hikers there, which is always fun. And the night before we also camped with like 10 other hikers, which, I don't know, it's feeling like a real Thru-Hike, which is awesome. It's just cool to have other people around, to get to know each other and to bond over the suck of what we're choosing to do and put ourselves through. And my legs started to just burn really bad. They've been like cracking open from how dry they're getting from going into the water, coming out, going in the water, coming out, going in the water, coming out. So they're literally like the skin's cracking open. Lots of like tiny little scratches all over my legs. It like is raw burning, like you scraped your whole leg open on the pavement or something. Honestly, the Gila alternate is a little bit of a navigational challenge. Like, it's not hard to find where you need to go because you just go upriver, but you're not always on the trail, and sometimes the trail is like hard to find, and you'll be on what you think is the trail, and then you come up to an intersection, you realize you're meeting up with the actual trail where like other people also lost it. So it's been good though. We've only got like 7 miles left, or 5 miles of the Gila left. Really only like 2 miles of river crossings, which feels kind of weird. My legs are definitely happy about that, but this has been such an incredibly gorgeous stretch that I am kind of sad to leave it. Maybe like one of the prettiest, definitely in the top 5 prettiest places I've ever hiked. The Gila is just absolutely incredible, so gonna miss that for sure. Oh, there's a potential fire closure up ahead. We've been trying to figure out like if we're actually being rerouted or not. It appears that we're not. No one can find anything. We've been texting people on our Garmin's to see if the CDTC has said anything, and so far no official word about a reroute. So we think that maybe the fire's just east of the trail and moving more east. Hopefully no fire closure. We were just worried if it was a reroute that it would be add miles and we wouldn't have enough food. But looks like we probably won't have to deal with it, at least so far. We'll find out today. So a fire truck just passed me, and I'm hoping that doesn't mean the fire is gonna be a problem. I guess we'll see. So we just took lunch where we ran into a Forest Service fire person, and they basically told us to take a break, or to not take a break for the next 2 miles along the black line, where they did like, I guess, a pre-burn to stop the fire, but we're allowed to go through, so no reroutes today.
After one of our longest days yet, we stopped at a flat spot decorated with the odor of a dead cow and drifted off to sleep.
We are on day 4 out of Doc Campbell's, which is day 7 since I've had a proper shower, and day 7 since we've had real like cell service or anything like that. Not that that's a big deal. It's actually kind of nice sometimes, but yeah, we've been out in it for a good bit now, and we won't get in town until tomorrow. We're going into Reserve, New Mexico. Yesterday afternoon, after we collected water from a cow trough and walked past an active fire, we walked straight into wind for like 2 hours. That was a tough way to have an afternoon. I feel like morale is always a little lower after lunch, but we made it to camp. There's like 15 of us that are all kind of in this section. We keep all running into each other at water sources, which is pretty fun if we don't camp together. I'm excited for town day. I could use a shower and a bed. It's also been freezing. Like, our water froze overnight last night, which, like, it's normal to have some frost, but for your water bottle to freeze means it got cold for a while. Luckily, we've been sleeping with our filters, but I didn't one of the nights, and our water didn't freeze that night, but socks did freeze, so might need to replace it. It's been running really slow anyway. Okay, going uphill. This is done now.
Our next stop for water wouldn't be until later that afternoon on the Govina Canyon alternate, our only reliable water for 22 miles. That water turned out to be a giant pond filled with cow shit, but we couldn't afford to pass it up. We pre-filtered with bandanas, filtered with our water filters, and I also used aqua tabs as an extra precaution before covering the flavor with drink mixes. The afternoon felt like a slog after this, and the rest of the alternate wasn't the easiest to follow. When we finally rejoined the trail, we saw fire trucks, but no one was in them. Twerk, Stallion, and Kid got ahead of me on the hill for a while, only for me to see them walking back towards me a little while later. They'd seen smoke, so we needed to stop and reassess. After calling several different agencies, nobody seemed to be able to tell us what to do. Since we knew personnel were on the scene though, we hoped maybe we could find them and that they would be able to tell us. We continued down the trail and eventually did see flames, but immediately also saw firefighters. They said we could keep walking and ended up escorting us through the fire. The flames were licking at logs right next to the trail, and they told us to please move quickly. Once we were out of the fire zone, we practically ran down the hill, hoping to put as much distance between us and the fire as we could before dark. We found a flat spot, but still felt a little apprehensive about camping so close to an active fire. While we were deciding what to do, a Forest Service truck came by and offered us a ride to the highway. We decided to take them up on it so we could put our minds at ease to sleep. It was the roughest hitch of my life, but worth it to camp safely with the firefighters. In the morning, the firefighters left camp well before we did to continue fighting the fire, which we later heard was fully contained at just 1 acre. After the sun came out, we made our way to the highway and stuck out our thumbs for what we heard could be a pretty difficult hitch. We looked out though, and the first car that passed was actually a fellow Thru-Hiker named Moxie from the AT class of 2016. She took us all the way to town while telling us the most incredible story about her life and how she ended up in Reserve, New Mexico. We ended up taking 2 full days off in Reserve and getting to know a lot of the locals. We frequented the only bar in town, made huge meals together, and got into some other pretty weird shenanigans. Every time I get antsy about maybe taking more days off than I should, I try to remind myself that this is the whole reason I'm out here. To make memories with the abundance of incredible hiker trash that also happen to be sharing this trail with me. And by some amazing act of the universe, we all happen to be here at the same time, which is something I never want to take for granted.
The camera.
Yeah.
And you need to look down. Yeah.
I need to look down.
But don't cover your face with the nail.
You want some lotion in it?
Yeah. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. No, you look at me, Stallion. Okay, both of you look at me now. Oh my god. Did she just lick it off?
No, I just ate it. But
Took a claw.
Let me see.